Hi, we have seen that transistors are three terminal devices, right? So we are going to study a specific kind of a transistor called a bipolar junction transistor. Okay, they are also called BJTs in short, and a BJT can be a symbol of a BJT is like this. So you have three ports. So this port is called the base of the transistor. This is called the collector of the transistor, and this port is called the emitter of the transistor. If you want to correlate it with the previous video, the base is the control uh, port, and the collector and the emitter are the input and output ports. So depending on the input on the base, the resistance between the collector and the emitter changes. Okay. Now, another way to think through the transistor is to think of it as if the transistor are basically two diodes put back to back. Okay, so if you think of this as the base, and let's say this is the collector and this is the emitter, a transistor is basically a diode here and another diode connected like this between the base and the collector and the base and the emitter. Okay, and you can see that this is the N side of the diode, right? uh, this is the N side of the diode and this is the P side of the diode, and for this diode this is the P side and this is the N side. And because this diode has an N side here and a P side and an N side, this kind of a BJT is called a NPN BJT. Okay, so BJT has two types of diodes, and the one that we are going to study is a NPN bipolar junction transistor. In a PNP BJT, you can imagine that you have a P here and an N here and a P here. Okay, so finally, what I want to do in this video is just let's just talk about a few conventions that we use when we talk about diodes and the currents and the voltages through the diodes. Okay, so what we do is usually the current that goes into the base is called the base current. The current that goes into the collector is called the collector current, and the current that comes out of the emitter is called the emitter current. Okay, and you take this voltage VBE is defined like this, with B as the positive terminal, and you talk about the voltage between the base and the collector as VBC, and you talk about the collector and the emitter voltage as VCE. And that those are the usual sign conventions that we use for the currents and voltages in the transistor. In the next few videos, we'll start looking at how this transistor works.